Welcome to the SportsBros podcast, featuring the almighty B-Live, the money man Scotty D, and your host, the head of creative Eddie Cool. The SportsBros podcast, by the fan, for the fan, talking sports just the way you like it. And without any further ado, let's give it up for the SportsBros. Just telling lies for no reason. It's Tuesday, and you know what time it is, like two watches. It's time once again for your favorite sports podcast, none other than the Sports Bros podcast. It's a little bit warmer up here in Northeast Ohio. We got us what they call a Midwestern heat wave. Currently 49 degrees outside and cloudy, but I'll take that versus 9 degrees and a bunch of that white stuff falling out of the sky. With that being said, I go by the name of Eddie Cool, aka the HOC up in this thing. In case you forgot, in this last 15 or 45 seconds, you are listening to the Sports Bros podcast. But before I go any further into this here episode, I have two of the best co-hosts in the world because y'all know I can't do it myself. I've tried. It ain't as fun. Introducing first, down now in Fayetteville, North Carolina, the almighty B-Live.
What's happening? What's going on in the world today? Eddie Cool, I'm with you when it comes to not having any of that white stuff on the ground, especially during the month of February, Black History Month. We don't do anything white.
Oh, boy.
Oh, wow.
Oh, boy. Starting off hot. There we go.
I couldn't help it. I'm sorry.
It's jokes, people. Don't turn off the podcast. Don't get offended. Don't report us to anybody. Wait a minute. This is our podcast, so you can't report us to nobody. All right, it's just jokes. Levity. Man. All right, levity.
Well. As aforementioned, we are a week away from the big game. Are we allowed to say the Super Bowl because we're not really advertising that stuff, but we're sort of kind of not. You know what? Big game
down there in New Orleans.
Yeah, whatever. The Eagles versus the Chiefs and another fan base don't know how to spell their mascot. And then the NBA is always going to NBA. We'll get into that because y'all already done seen it, but you know we got to talk about it. Go ahead and introduce the other guy, and let's do the damn thing.
And the other guy, he is the pride of Washington, Pennsylvania, coming to us live from the Trinity High School. He is the one, the only, the money man, Scotty D.
I love LA. We love it. I love LA. It's a great time of the NBA. I love the NBA. You know how much I enjoy NBA basketball. This is a great time to be in NBA. Oh yeah, I've come around. Got my 77 jersey coming in the mail for me. Jesus. But yeah, we'll get to that in a moment here. Just crazy stuff going. Yeah. You want to just start with that?
You know what? We got to.
Top of the order, us, Eddie Cool. Top of the order, us.
Let's talk about this NBA thing because it's the timing.
And with that being said, let's go ahead and hop right into it. The top of the order. All right, let's get this thing started. Here it is, the top of the order. The NBA is always going to NBA, and especially on the week of the Super Bowl. The NBA made headlines this weekend as the LA Lakers, they make a move, and they trade for us five-time, six-time All-Star? Five-time All-Star Luka Dončić. In exchange, the Mavs, they received Anthony Davis. So here's how the whole trade entails. The Lakers receive Luka Dončić, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris. In exchange, the Mavericks get Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round draft pick. Utah also had their dirty mitts on the hamburger as well, too, as they received Jalen Hood, Shafino, a 2025 second-round pick, and a 2025 second-round pick via the Cavaliers. I didn't see this coming. And Scotty D, with you being our resident Lakers fan, good move, bad move, what the hell? What do you think?
A bizarre move because nobody saw this coming. We learned late Sunday that De'Aaron Fox was getting traded to the Spurs for Zach LaVine, but for days we saw the De'Aaron Fox was on the trade block, so we kind of saw that coming. There's no whispers that Luka Dončić would ever get traded. If Mark Cuban was there, it wouldn't happen because he said, I would rather divorce my wife than to lose Luka Dončić. He actually said that. This is bizarre, but as a Laker fan, I kind of like it because I was never a big Anthony Davis fan because the guy, to me, just was dominant one day and the next day missing. Now, I know he didn't like playing the center position. He wanted to be more of a shooter and not playing with his back to the basket. Said he wanted to have another center in there to kind of take that pressure off him. But it might line up good for him in Dallas that way. But if you're Dallas, man, you're not thrilled to see Anthony Davis come to town because Luka Dončić led you to the finals a year ago. It was last year, not even a full calendar year yet. And this guy was their new Dirk. He was beloved by the people of Dallas. What is it with Dallas, by the way, right now? Dallas, yeah.
Oh boy.
Dallas fans in Dallas. I mean, John F. Kennedy got treated better in Dallas than the fans of Dallas sports. I mean, this is rough. Yeah, that was a little rough.
Yeah,
but as a Laker fan, I like this because it seems like the big knock on Luka that from everything we're hearing coming out of Dallas is that the general manager Nico Harrison didn't want to engage in a long negotiation to give him the Supermax deal, which he is eligible for, I think, at the end of next summer. His contract's up after 2026. So he said he was trying to get ahead of it, and there had to have been a lot of discontent people in the Mavs office besides this guy that they're saying that he wasn't in great shape and didn't take his conditioning serious, and he's missed games this year. Well, I mean, the guy played hurt in the finals last year, and I think that could be an issue that he maybe isn't putting his body into the best shape possible. I mean, last year, remember they went to the finals and they had to take a beer off the guy. I mean, little things like that I think can be corrected. This isn't like he's a terrible shooter. He's not a great defender. But you're losing defense by trading Anthony Davis for this guy. But this is something LeBron is on his way out the door there. This guy is going to be 26 in a couple weeks. He's a young guy to build around for the future. So for the Lakers, I think this is a steal to get a guy like this. If his biggest issue is that he's not playing himself into great shape, that's a maturity thing. That'll come. If you're a Laker fan, you got to love this. If you're a Dallas fan, man, they're saying that the defense is necessary and helps win championships, but without this guy putting up 28 points a game, are you getting anywhere near the finals again? I don't know about that. Not with the lineup not without Luka, not without him. B-Lev, I know you're chomping at the bit on this because I don't know if you saw this news before. I texted it to you the other night but I know it's been on your mind ever since late night Saturday night. This move happened like in the middle of the night. It's crazy.
Yeah. You brought it, Scotty D. You the one that brought it to my attention, and I immediately went to the Google machine. I immediately went to research it. Like this can't be real life, and sure enough, It was actually real life. Let me start off because I've had a good minute to think about this and the pros and cons, the ins and outs, and everything, all the things about this. First things first. For this to have happened to Luka Dončić, he better have gotten a check from Adam Silver in the tune of $116 million because that move cost him the Supermax. He lost $116 million by that trade. So, to all of the up-and-coming superstars in the NBA, et cetera, and blah, 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 no trade clause, because you gotta ask me first if I want to be traded, if I'm a superstar. Mm-hmm. And clearly that was not in, it wasn't in Luka's contract, but it was in Anthony Davis's contract. And from reports, Anthony Davis said, yeah, I'm cool with it. there's a lot that's going on behind the scenes. You don't trade away your franchise player outside, and the reason why I say that Adam Silver owes Luka Dončić is because the NBA, when it comes to ratings wise, was sinking. Nobody was watching the NBA, and I'm talking about I wasn't watching it. Have you tuned into any games? Really?
It's funny you say that. I was thinking about this the other night as I'm scrolling through the channels looking for something to watch, and I scrolled past like 2 spots on the guide that said NBA and didn't stop for them. And when I was younger, I would have never done that.
You're right. Like I enjoy basketball. I played basketball. I still enjoy the college game more than I do the pro game, but I still
Yeah.
like I've become detached, disassociated with the NBA because it's just tough to watch. And guess what I did all weekend long? I talked about the NBA. So hey, Adam Silver, congratulations! You concocted this thing and put it together so the NBA could have some ratings. And I mean, this is the first time they've done it like in between the 2 weeks of the championship games and the Super Bowl. The NBA, I think, is actually where the trade deadline is somewhere fixated in there somewhat or whatnot. And but there's
I think it's
always
Thursday, right?
yeah,
I
so
think it's Thursday.
it's
six,
something
yeah.
of that nature, and we see some craziness behind this. And like, here's like they say, like I said, Luca's out of. They say he's out of shape. They're saying that he lacks maturity, that his work ethic, there has to be. You know how the kids say red flags in a relationship.
Yeah.
This is screaming red flags, and the Lakers said, you know what? For the first time since LeBron James has come to this franchise, we're actually going to do something for the franchise because this is not a move for LeBron James. This isn't a
No,
move
but
for.
I did see Adam Windhorst saying that LeBron is a big proponent of Luka. Like he wanted to play with him years ago, a couple years ago. They talked about wanting to play together. So I don't think he hated this move either.
But you got to be a masterful head coach to have 2 point forwards on your team.
Well, that's
That's like
that I didn't get into that when I was talking a minute ago, where I said that for the future of the Lakers, I
right.
like this because the Lakers have a history of making big acquisitions from Wilt to Magic Johnson to Kareem to Shaq and now LeBron a few years ago. But yeah, how's this going to work this year though?
Yeah, this is this and the Lakers are actually playing good basketball this year.
Yeah, they came off a big road win again at the Knicks
So
on Saturday, right before that trade was made.
I is maybe they can sustain it enough to make it to the playoffs, and then just let the magic happen there. That there will finally be be a cohesiveness.
You got to find a way. You got to find a way. I mean,
does the LeBron take a step back and let Luka
maybe
run the offense? I mean,
maybe
LeBron's smart enough to do
that.
so.
He might welcome that, not having to shoulder the entire scoring load. Because he had to do that a lot of nights. Because some nights Anthony Davis would score 30, and the next night he'd score 8.
And Anthony Davis asked for another big, and they said, "No, you know what? We're just going to ship you off." What? Yeah. That's crazy to me. But for Anthony Davis to waive his no trade clause, he was like, "I guess. Well, it is what it is. That's the way y'all want to go." It is. Are the Mavs contenders with a big like Anthony Davis at the 4? Him being at the natural 4 with Kyrie running.
Some nights.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, with you have Kyrie, you have a dynamic scorer, and if you get into the playoffs, who else is on that team? Klay Thompson, right? He's on that team.
Yep.
I think they can be because I think the West is still kind of open. I mean, I think the Celtics have already been inked into the finals in the East. I think they're already a given, but the West, I think, is open for anybody. And if you have to win 4 out of 7, you might get 4 good games out of AD out of 7. I mean, he doesn't have to play great every single night to advance in the postseason. So he's definitely an asset. It's not like they got a scrub. They wanted this guy. They wanted him because they didn't talk to anybody else to see what the best deal was. It was Lakers and Mavericks talking in private. It was Pelinka and Nico Harrison talking in private for 2 weeks. Nobody else knew that this was going to happen.
Yeah, that like Jason Kidd didn't know.
No, he didn't know until like
that's
that.
Crazy to me that the head coach doesn't know these things are happening. Wow.
Yeah, this whole thing that goes back to my original adjective of bizarre. I mean, it was a bizarre way. The whole thing announced late night on a Saturday night after the Lakers had come off the floor. I mean, whole thing was just it's very strange. And if you're a kid in Dallas and you got a 77 jersey, you were sick on Sunday morning when you woke up. Sick.
I think they said their Instagram account that the Mavericks lost 700,000 followers in like a matter of a couple of days. Like they said, "Yep, we're out." This yeah.
This is Jerry Jones' fault. I blame Jerry.
Oh boy, he not tampering in basketball, Lizzie. I look at it like this, and we all can agree on this. Luka Dončić is a generational talent from what he can do. There's an old saying I've heard Shannon Sharp say it, and I heard a lot of people say it. Companies, jobs, and teams will tolerate you until they can replace you. Something that one of you pointed out earlier, and that we saw last year during the Western Conference Finals, Luka went for a beer, and Michael Finley said, "Give me that."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, okay, he's old enough to drink. Just snatched the beer out of his hand. I mean, there's no secret, Luka, he loves his libations, and he also loves his hookahs as well too. But also on top of that, Luka is often injured or battling injuries and everything, and he's tend to miss some time. And I guess Nico Harrison was like, "Look, if I'm gonna give you this deal, I'm gonna need you to do A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, which includes staying healthy and taking your conditioning serious." He's coming to the season, some seasons overweight and bloated and just moving like, moving like me through quicksand. Not as fast and not as nimble as I used to. There's a lot of things to take into consideration, but damn, just to trade a generational talent.
Your franchise player.
Yeah, your franchise player. There's more to it than what we see, but that it's just, I'm like you, Scotty D. Because matter of fact, here's what I was doing. Just finished watching the Royal Rumble, linked up with a friend, went to go have some dinner. It was like Beyonce announced she was going on her Cowboy Carter tour, and then next thing you know, this happened between the Lakers and the Mavericks, and I'm like, I'm on overload. What's going on? I was like spinning like what's going on? But yeah, it's definitely bizarre, and I have questions. Will they get answered? I'll never know. What do you want to say? Be live.
I got two questions.
Okay.
First one, if I'm SGA with Oklahoma City, am I concerned? Because was this trade made because of these super duper max contracts? Because they're saying that SGA and Luka were going to be the first ones that are going to be around the $80 million a year mark because of the TV deals, new salary caps, and stuff like that. Does this bring immediate concern?
I would say no. Because I don't think this was strictly a contract thing. I think this was multiple things, and there was obviously a contentious element to this breakup.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I think this is more a Luka Dončić thing than a superstar contract thing.
Still a lot of freaking money, but I guess they got it like that. The second thing, and I want people to understand this real quick. I'm not in shape. I don't want y'all coming after me like I'm Brian Windhurst, because Windhurst has been overly critical of players not being in shape, not being in condition, et cetera, et cetera. And Zion Williamson has caught so many strays this past weekend because of Luka. It's been ridiculous. Like every other meme has been Zion in the background behind Luka because Luka getting a little chunky. So don't come at me for this. But don't you think when one of the prerequisites for your job and the money that you make is to stay in shape, wouldn't you stay? Like, my job doesn't require me to be in shape. Mm-hmm. So guess what? I'm not in the best of shape. Like I said, don't come at me. But that book,
But you
like,
know, don't you think there's a part of that that's overblown though? I mean, he couldn't be out there and play. He played almost every game last year and the playoffs and played through it. You can't be in terrible shape to go all the way through a season like that. You have to just by running through practice and through the season, you have to be in some sort of shape. It's not like he doesn't look like Brian Windhorst. He's not in that kind of shape. So I think maybe this is blown a little bit out of proportion. Should he be in better shape? Yes, probably.
well,
But
you're getting these injuries though, like, and if you're
well, he had
not,
a calf strain, and yeah, so he's going to have to do something about that. I mean, but that's a
it's
common injury.
it's always going to come under scrutiny if you're getting injured after it's noticeable that you're not in the best of shape.
Yeah,
And that's the thing that sort of stands out for me is like, yo, you get paid nine figures. You
yeah,
have the top
I agree.
notch facilities. You have the nutritionists.
Mhm.
You have people that their sole job is to make sure that you get the best food, the best nutrients, the like people. Yeah,
Yeah,
you have
I
a,
agree. I agree.
if I had that at my disposal, if I had those people like that staff, that facility at my disposal, I guarantee you I'd be in much better shape. And that's with the normal, like just being normal. If I
Mhm.
had the access to that, I'd be in better shape. You're telling me that you, oh boy, that it bothers me. I don't have the best workout regimen because it doesn't exist. But man, if
Yeah,
I had a
but
nutritionist.
again,
Yeah.
I think now Luka didn't reference it. He said his little goodbye tweet or whatever it was to
Mhm.
Dallas, and I'll just make this point for when we'll move on to the Super Bowl here. But I think it was his dad that was saying that this is hypocritical that of Dallas to be saying that type of thing, that he's not in great shape because he has. But here's where he have to look at things a little bit different. Yeah, Luka, you might get traded because you weren't in great shape. You might have lost 114 $116 million opportunity, but you're going to the Lakers. There will be plenty of opportunity to make money in LA, to win championships in LA. This is an organization that has generationally been great. Decade after decade after decade, they're putting good teams out. They don't let their team linger for 30 years like the Dallas Cowboys do.
Here it
Oh,
is.
here we go.
There
There
You
it
it
know,
is.
I
is.
mean, seriously, the Lakers, they're trying. They went out and they paid LeBron a bunch of money, and to keep him happy, they even drafted his talentless son. They do whatever they can to be good. They do whatever they can to be good. So, Luka, you're going to be in a good position here. Once you get set, your feet set, and somebody tells you, look, get in better shape, take care of your body, don't put bad stuff into your body. You have a chance to win championships here in LA. We're going to get you some help. So,
What
there you
what it
go.
what it is, I think him being around LeBron James will be beneficial because
That could be,
Look at LeBron
yeah,
James at 40 years old doing what
That
Luka
true.
is still doing in his
Yep,
20s. So
yep.
Luka, in order to be great, you want to look at one of the what's considered one of the most greatest players of all time, and
Great
how
point.
serious he is about his regimen. And
Yep,
the thing
I'll
about it
give
is,
you that. I'll give you that.
and if that don't get you together, nothing will. You don't want it. You're okay with being mid, as the
that's a
kids
great
say.
point.
So hopefully, Luca can study from the book of LeBron on how to take care of yourself and have a 20-year run like the great LeBron James did himself. Let's go ahead and talk some football, fellas. Of course, here at SportsBros Podcast, we don't fill 2 weeks of episodial content by talking about the Super Bowl. Why? Because we ain't got that kind of time. We work. We got things to do. And there ain't
There's
nothing
only
but
but
some
so much you can really talk about before you're repeating yourself.
yeah. Yeah, I just don't
My
understand. That's why
goodness.
like that 2 week break, that first week, I don't watch nothing at all. That second week, okay, now we can start to it because the game is X amount days away. The Chiefs, the Eagles. Who's winning and why? Be live.
Oh man, if only they could spell better.
ELG, the
Yes.
Elgles, the Elgles.
There's more videos out that people can't spell, but City of Philadelphia. Let me just do a little public service announcement. Act like you've been there before,
Mhm.
and just quick prayers out to the family. I guess one guy that climbed up on a light pole and fell off the light pole and passed away. Just let's make that a little bit of a reminder. Let's celebrate and be happy and enjoy it, but don't have to go to extremes like that to celebrate.
Got to be more careful.
And the reason why I put that out there is because I believe the Eagles are going to win this. They not only did they add the added element of Saquon Barkley, and they're the number two rushing offense in the all of the NFL, second only to the Baltimore Ravens. Uh, but also the Eagles have the number one defense, and I've been saying this: defense wins championships. The Chiefs have been getting away with almost murder for the regular season and this postseason as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the time where the Chiefs I think the Chiefs are outmatched. I think defense, Pat Mahomes is going to have some trouble. You do have the two best offensive lines in all of football facing each other, but I think the Eagles defense gets through. I think the game, everything I've said about winning a Super Bowl, winning a championship, defense wins championship, and games are won in the trenches. Advantage Eagles, advantage Eagles, and advantage Eagles. All of that. So I think the magic ends. As much as the Chiefs and the NFL and the referees want a three-peat, I think it ends here.
Scotty D, what say you?
Yeah, and that all sounds really great, except that I just can't bet against Patrick Mahomes until you beat him. I'm not going to bet against him. It's not like the Chiefs have a terrible defense. Their defense is excellent. Their defensive coordinator is excellent. 2 weeks to study film here for Andy Reid to prepare for that defense. The biggest factor of the game could be the Eagles' offensive line. They're excellent in the trenches, but if the game is close and it's late, I'm taking Mahomes. So that's plus I picked him in the preseason, so I'm not going to waver on that. I'm going to stay with the Chiefs. Eddie, cool?
Man, look, the way Saquon Barkley is running that ball, he is running that ball like a man with a point to prove. As far as I'm concerned, he's already proved it. But I think he just wants to run that ball a little bit more just to stick it to that jackass Giants GM that made that stupid mistake by giving Daniel Dimes, Dennis Jones all that money, knowing he wasn't worth two dead fly smash. He couldn't complete a pass, nor can he complete a sentence. And you let Saquon Barkley walk, saying, I'm going to let you test the market. Well, I don't want to be here. I want to be here. I'm going to let you test the market. Well, like they say, if you love something, you let it go and see if it comes back. Well, it ain't coming back. And the next time Saquon Barkley comes back to the Meadowlands, MetLife Stadium, he gonna have a ring on his finger, and it'll be the ultimate ha 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 ha. I told you so. Eagles by 3.
Ooh. Oh, it's gonna be a close one. I believe it's gonna be a close one, and I'm looking forward to it. If we are mere few days away, New Orleans, we're coming.
Let's get it out of the way so we can start concentrating on NBA basketball again.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that the other day. I said, damn, we ain't gonna have no football to talk about.
February 25th, Dallas Mavericks versus the LA Lakers.
We will definitely highlight that one. We'll definitely talk about that one. That's gonna be some must see stuff. So, anyways, before I got on here, fellas, I got a blurb from the Bleacher Report, and Scotty D, I don't know if you saw it, but Major League Baseball, they're making news. Why? Because they fired an umpire. Pat Holberg fired for sharing betting accounts with a friend who bet on baseball and then deleting the message during investigations. Tell me you're guilty without saying you're guilty.
Have we learned nothing from Pete Rose? Have we learned nothing? Have we learned nothing from Tim Donaghy? That's bad.
Yeah.
Have we also learned nothing from Terry Rozier too? But anyways, real quick before we get up out of here, recently Cam Newton said, "You know what? I would not trade in my MVP for a Super Bowl championship." Real talk or BS? What say you, Scotty D?
Man, there every year there's 53 guys on a roster that wins a Super Bowl. That means thousands have won a Super Bowl, but very few can say they were the MVP of the league. I don't know if he had won the Super Bowl, he would say the same thing. So personally, I think I'd rather have the Super Bowl ring if I was going to be a pro athlete. Maybe a little bit more money being the MVP, a little bit more notoriety. And they say you can never take that away from him, but you also could never take away a Lombardi trophy if they got one of them. What do you think, B?
Cam Newton. As a diehard Panthers fan, Cam Newton has been the most polarizing player that the Carolina Panthers have ever had, especially when it comes to his fan base. I have spent countless hours, days, weeks, months defending Cam Newton. Yes, you dress funny, big hats, all kinds of craziness, whatever. But when you were on the field, you galvanize a fan. Like, I've never seen a movement ever in the history of all of the National Football League. The dab, like you dab on them, like dude, like that 2015 year was magical.
Oh yes,
Cam VP, you deserve it. You we, but you know what happened during the Super Bowl when you didn't dive on that football. You can't say this.
no,
I understand how outspoken you want to be. You can't say this
no.
because all that you like now. Every bit of that time that I've spent defending you to these one-sided Neanderthal thinking country bumpkin MFers that want to talk about you always, which side or whatever. Now you've justified what they've had to say, that you're selfish, that you're like you seek the attention, you're attention seeking, you're just why would you say that? Because now I can't argue that anymore. I can't argue against that anymore. Because you literally just spoke and said that you'd rather be the MVP as opposed to winning the Super Bowl. I'm pretty sure it got taken out of context, but you just can't say that. That's one of those things where if I knew what I meant to all of this and everything, NFL, my legacy, Carolina Panthers organization, I think he said it out of spite because he's upset with the Carolina Panthers because they haven't put him into the Ring of Honor and Christian McCaffrey didn't invite him to his wedding and stuff like that. I think he is bitter. You can't say this, brother.
You can't do
Just
that.
can't. You can't. MVP has been awarded how many times? 50, there's only 50. And some people are multiple time MVPs. So it's a brotherhood. But you can't Cam Newton, you can't say that.
No, you can't.
Other people might get away with that.
Mm.
You specifically can't say that.
Yep.
Cam VP.
I'm gonna make it real quick. Damn that MVP, give me that ring. All right. And with that being said, looking at my watch because looking at my phone because I've yet to get a watch. Guess what time it is?
What time is it, brother? What's happening? What's
Man,
going on?
I'm glad you asked. It's time for our favorite portion, the choices of the voices. With that being said, yo, button, hit it. Choices of the voices coming at you right here on the Sports Bros podcast.
And now, our favorite part of the show, the choices of the voices.
Once again, thank you to the wonderful and
Ever so lovely
Miss Button for introducing our favorite portion of the show, the choices of the voices. We ask all a question, you give us the answer, and we talk about it right here on the Sports Bros podcast. With that being said, Scotty D, what's the question for this week's choices of the voices?
So the question that we pose to the people is that we saw how impactful Saquon Barkley is to
The
to
Eagles.
the
Yeah,
Eagles
great
run to the
offseason
Super.
acquisition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what offseason acquisition or trade do you remember, and what do you think had the most impact? That's what it sounded, something like that. That's
Yeah,
where we're
yeah.
gonna go with it.
That's a good one. We'll go with that. It was geared more to trades and free agency, not drafts.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So what did the people say? Thank you, Be Live.
All right. Shout out to B Live, man. Scotty D is live on location right now. So Scotty D, so B Live got it together. Trey Dizzle said when Dallas drafted Dak Prescott, oh boy, it had a giant impact on my team. Lost a super talented quarterback with a with a high football IQ and replaced him with a guy who catches flies with his mouth during games because every spotlight is too bright for him. Tell Jerry to get some blinds. Show some spotlights. Tell Jerry to you need to get some curtains or something.
God almighty, Trey Duke never fails.
No offense.
But yeah, that wasn't nowhere near what we asked. But that's cool.
No, that was not.
But
That was not anywhere
participation.
near the spirit of this question.
Yeah, but as always, thank you for your participation and continuous comic relief. All right, MJ Markley says Jerome Bettis to the Steelers from the Rams.
No, that's a good one.
That's
That was a huge impact because that changed the way the Steelers offense ran. They centered the ball around the bus.
Yep.
And he won a Super Bowl in his last game.
Yep. And then he said, you know what? I'm out of here.
Yep.
All right. Sean Manchusco, he said Peyton Manning to Denver, Brett Favre to Green Bay, Steve Young to the 49ers, Len Dawson to Kansas City, Reggie White to the Packers, and Drew Brees to the Saints. So if that was any of y'all's answer, thank you, Sean.
Yeah, he had a handful of good ones there. The Favre thing I'm going to not say was such because that wasn't immediate impact. That took it took the Packers a few years after acquiring Favre before he worked his way up to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So who did Favre the Green Bay?
He started with the Falcons.
He was a Falcon,
year, but he never. I think he played. He played like one game or one snap or something. And
okay, because I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, I think he only played like one game there. But who else did he say? Peyton Manning. That was a really good one.
Yep, Peyton Manning to Denver. Mm-hmm. Steve Young to the 49ers. Len Dawson to Kansas City.
The Young to 49ers was another one. That took several years of sitting behind Montana on the bench, which obviously was a great acquisition because he won a Super Bowl with them. But Steve Young was good enough. He could have been starting for somebody for those couple of years he was behind Montana.
Oh, no
we're looking more for immediate impact. So
yeah.
Okay. So
the Peyton Manning one absolutely was. Reggie White was.
Mm-hmm.
And like Breeze to the Saints. I mean, that
took a couple seasons.
And yeah, that was also like draft day, sort of, so to speak, wasn't it?
Breeze was drafted by the Chargers. I think like the second to the last game of that season, he hurt his shoulder, and they said it might have been possibly career ending, and they said his shoulder would never be the same again. Miami
wanted him,
for Drew Brees, but they was like, nah, we ain't gonna do that. And so the Saints said, come here, Drew, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Oh yeah, all right.
Yeah. The rest, as they say, is history. All right, Trina Dunn, she says Reggie White and Green Bay, game changer. Correct. Can't argue that one.
Yep.
All right. Rob Renner, he said, what about when Washington traded its owner?
Gotta get him out of there.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, it doesn't get much more impactful than what you see right here, but I mean,
addition by subtraction there, I suppose.
Right.
Yep, ain't that something. All right. Rob Renner, he says, I'm sorry, our friend to the show, JR, he says, LeGarrette Blount, Jay Ajayi, and Alshon Jeffries were part of the Eagles' first Super Bowl.
Okay. Let me pick this one apart because
we're talking about
Saquon Barkley was just shy of the all-time rushing record, and then now the Eagles are in the Super Bowl. He's comparing him to Jay Ajayi.
Yeah, he did that.
Come on.
This was a homer pick if there was ever a homer pick, because he also threw in Alshon Jeffrey. Like, I mean, that's
how you build a team, is acquiring good pieces like that. But that's not like Saquon Barkley, and all of a sudden you're back in the Super Bowl. That's not
Hey, say you're an Eagles fan without or with actually saying you're an Eagles fan. All right, cool.
All right, move right along.
Ajayi.
All right, we got TB Tony.
Crying out loud.
Tony Bogan, what's up, man? Thanks for listening. He said Drew Brees going from the Chargers to the Saints in 2006 changed the direction of the franchise completely. Had a few seasons where he threw for over 5,000 yards and won a Super Bowl. Another one in the same division. I can't believe I'm saying this. What did he say?
Oh boy, I see what I did there. I messed up. All right, where am I? Where you going? Hold on 1 second. I got this because I cut it off.
I want to say he said
another one in the same division is, I can't believe I'm saying this, Tom Brady. Tom Brady to Tampa Bay. In the 2 seasons he played in Tampa, he won the 7th Super Bowl, and the following year threw for 5,316 yards and arguably should have won MVP. That's a good answer.
Yeah.
That's the immediate impact. That's it right there.
Yep. And I was over here like the mother effer came back. All right, so here we go. We got Jeffrey Lewis. He said Tyreek, also quite the addition in Miami.
Pretty good. He did have a major impact on that team because Tua had a guy who just started flinging it too, and then Waddle was open. Their biggest problem is they couldn't keep the quarterback healthy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Seriously, I mean, the Tyreek was quite. He most definitely had a big impact on that offense for sure.
That made me a believer. I've been over here trying to pick up every one of the Miami's offensive pieces because I thought they were just gonna be lights out. Yeah, that sort of didn't quite. Well, let's not talk about fantasy football.
The league catches up to you quick. Right. He also said C.J. Stroud. Yeah, from the looks of it, that's it. So shout out to Trey Dizzle, MJ, Sean, Trina, Rob, JR, Tony Bogan, Jeffrey Lewis for their participation in this week's Choices of the Voices. Scotty D, what say you? Who you got?
I'm going to go with one that's under the radar, but as a Dallas Cowboy fan, I could never forget in 1992, whenever it looked like they were poised to make a Super Bowl run, they acquired Charles Haley from the 49ers, and everyone said this could be the missing piece. And man, he just terrorized quarterbacks as a member of the Dallas Cowboys, and they did win the Super Bowl after acquiring him 2 years in a row. Also, you could throw in the fact that the Cowboys won 2 out of 3. The one in the middle there, after their back-to-back, went to the 49ers when they picked up Deion Sanders. And then the following year, the Cowboys picked up Deion, and they went back and won it again. So a couple good defensive impact players right there. It was Charles Haley and Deion. And then the Cowboys have not done anything since then to acquire anybody worth anything. And it's been 29 years and counting of misery. Be Live, over to you.
I'm gonna throw myself into the penalty box, but not really because this is a comparison that is needed. I guess it's more balanced now because we just gave away the farm back to Chicago. But recent history, players from Chicago has done my teams very well. Remember I said I was going to throw myself into the penalty box because we're talking football, but I just want to throw baseball in there a little bit. Greg Maddux, when he came from the Chicago Cubs to the Atlanta Braves, absolutely loved it. The reason why I threw him in there is because it's also in reference to a former Chicago Bear that became a Carolina Panther in the name of Greg Olson. I thought that was a phenomenal pickup by the Carolina Panthers when Greg Olson became that target for Cam Newton. It was chef's kiss, magnifique. But I can't believe in all of this, the question that was posed and the fact that you didn't mention it in the question, Scotty D, that nobody said it. Baltimore Ravens, Derrick Henry. Like, nobody said that. That's crazy to me. Like, it was an immediate impact. Unfortunately, the Ravens did the same thing they did in the playoffs. I guess that's maybe why nobody said it. But that was an immediate impact.
I thought I mentioned it when I posed that question last. I didn't write it down in the.
You didn't put it in the post.
No, I know, but I think I said it when we were talking about it last week. But
yeah, it's a possibility.
Yeah. But it's a great choice though, because he completely turned Baltimore into
an immediate, like they always stay right there as like they're contenders. They're always contenders, but that was the one that was supposed to take them over the hump. Now we start questioning John Harbaugh at this point because, bruh,
Yeah.
like it's to the point where you get out coached in some of these situations as well. But that's where I'm at with it. I like to stir the pot, cause controversy. Eddie Cool, yes sir. What say you?
I'm gonna have to go with Tony Bogan, man, and go with Drew Brees because they pretty much left Drew Brees for dead once he had that shoulder injury, and once Miami said the Saints said, look, we got Aaron Brooks and we got God knows who else, so let's go ahead and just go ahead and make that power move. And so with Sean Payton's ability to be the quarterback whisperer, I mean, look at Bo Nix. It didn't work for Russell Wilson, but it is what it is. But with him being able to do that and him being able to with the Saints organization being able to get Drew Brees and then assemble more pieces around him, you got to think, they also had what Devery Henderson was Joe Horn was before that, and they were able to draft Marcus Colston
Mm.
and a lot of other wide receivers. So with that being said, Drew Brees, select Drew Brees. Scotty D, what's on tap for next week?
All right, next week we'll be already knowing who the Super Bowl winner is. So we'll be on the topic of Super Bowl. So tell us about some of your favorite Super Bowl memories. Some involving you, a party you went to, a game you may have, if you went to a game, if you went to a Super Bowl, if you went to Overtime Sports Cafe and watched the Super Bowl. Maybe you got arrested on the day of the Super Bowl. Give us any kind of Super Bowl memories that stick out in your mind. That'll give us something to talk about next.
All right. With that being said, that does it for another round of the choice. With that being said, yeah.
Yes.
3, 2, 1. That does it for another edition of the Choice of the Voices. Be live. Grab the pepper grinder. Coming up next, around the pepper. Stay tuned. Stay. Don't you dare go away. This is the Sports Bros podcast.
Okay, boys, let's bring it home with a round of pepper.
All right, y'all heard the woman. It's time for us to go home and get what I call the hell up out of here. But before we go, a round of pepper. You know how we do it. 3 topics, rapid fire style, kind of, sort of, not really. Here to engage, enlighten, educate, and entertain. The 4 E's in no particular order. We're going to throw a wrench in this thing. Be live. He going to give it to us real quick because due to time constraints, we got things to do. What you got, Be Live?
Man, oh man, I just can't leave without my pepper points. So I'm going to hit you with them 3 real quick. Bang. I gotta go. My first pepper point. Well, college football, you've done it. You've done it. You finally done it to the point where free agency and transfer portal has gotten so crazy. Matt Rule, Nebraska, they said, you're not going to get a sneak peek of our players. You're not going to see what we got going on. And he's canceling the annual spring game because he says, other teams are poaching players. We're not going to give you a sneak peek. You're not going to get to see who you want to pick off of our team and all those types of things. What other schools will follow with canceling their spring games? Second pepper point, man, oh man, decisions. But the Utah Hockey Club has been seeking the fans' approval of who their actual name and mascot's going to be. But I can tell you what it's not going to be, which was the overwhelmingly popular choice. The Utah Yetis will not be a thing because you know why. You already know why. The Yeti company that makes all those cups and all those coolers, they said, nah, player, that's us. It's going to be us. I know it could add even additional level of popularity to our product, but nah, that's just us. Y'all ain't gonna be able to do that. So it might be the Utah Mammoths. It might be the Utah Hockey Club still. The Utah Wasatch. Don't ask, just look it up. The Utah Wasatch. It's a mountain range. It's a mountain range. Okay, cool. All right, yeah, I don't like it. But my third and final pepper point. Here's the thing, real quick. We may have another element into Kansas City Chiefs winning the Super Bowl because there's a certain term that's been thrown around a lot when it comes to Kansas City because there'll be 3 times winning in a row. Um, Three-peat. Guess who
Pat
makes
Riley's.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, you could ask. Oh.
That Pat Riley is over here like, come on, Kansas City Chiefs, can you win this and become a three-peat so I make more money? Because Pat Riley owns the trademark to the term three-peat. Pat Riley is rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs. Fellas, I gotta go. This script is written, or has it? Fellas, I love you. Gotta go. Deuces. I'm rooting for the commercials for the Super Bowl because I like neither team. Thank you for playing. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Yes, sir.
We're trading him to Dallas. Goodbye, B Live. You're off.
Trade to Dallas. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the almighty B Live. All right. With that being said, Scotty D, my turn, I guess. All right.
Yeah, go right ahead.
All right. On this day in history, back in 1952, Jackie Robinson becomes the first African American executive of a major U.S. TV and radio station as the director of community activities at Radio WNBC in New York and the TV station WNBT. A little known fact during Black History Month. I didn't know that. Both of you, Scotty D.
I did not know that either. That's a very good one. Mm-hmm. Penn State's on a roll, Eddie Cool. The football team was in the Final Four this year. The volleyball team won the national championship. And the wrestling team right now is so much better than the rest of the country that it's not even close.
Wow.
This past Friday night, number 1 ranked Penn State took on number 2 Iowa and destroyed them 30-8. Only 2 wins for Iowa that night. That is 66 straight dual meets now for Penn State. Their last loss coming to Iowa, January 31st of 2020. Cale Sanderson has led Penn State to 11 titles since 2011, and he is close to landing the top recruit in the country right now. Actually, he may have done it by now because there was supposed to be some kind of presser about that early Monday. But Penn State, obviously, if you beat the number 2 team in the country, something drastic would have to happen for them not to win the national championship again this year. Penn State is rolling. Eddie Cool, over to you.
So pretty much it's theirs to lose.
Pretty much.
There's something. All right, on this day in history, also back in 1969, John Madden, that's right, the guy on the video game, he is named the head coach of the NFL's Oakland Raiders. John Madden, what more can be said about the man that hasn't already been said? The best there is, was, and ever will be. Scotty D, over to you.
Legend. All right, so this past Christmas, an 11-year-old boy in Los Angeles, an anonymous 11-year-old boy, got a box of 2024 Topps Chrome baseball cards for Christmas. A 24-pack, a box that comes with 24 packs for $320. That was his only gift he got, $320. But what he got inside was pretty cool. It actually wasn't the Paul Skeens card, but it was a redemption card saying, hey, you are going to win this Paul Skeens card. You got it. Paul Skeens autograph card for this set, 1 of 1. The Pittsburgh Pirates were actually making an offer to anybody that pulled this card up. They were going to give him 30 years of season tickets behind home plate. Well, this kid out in LA, he don't want that. So he's putting that card up for auction, said the money's going to go to his family and to help the people of the LA wildfires.
All right.
So I don't know who you are, kid, but nice job. I don't even know if I would take the tickets at the Bucco game next 30 years. Yeah. Eddie Cool, over to you.
And Scotty D is a Buccos fan.
I'm a Bucco fan.
On top of that. All right, and finally, my final pepper point. On this day in history, back in 2019, Caitlin Clark. Yes, that Caitlin Clark scored 60 points in a game for Dowling Catholic High School against Mason City High School, setting the second highest single game point total in Iowa on Iowa 5-on-5 girls basketball history. Look, some girls' games don't even total 60 points. But for her to score 60 points by herself, right there and then, we knew that Caitlin Clark was special. Then she recently get her jersey retired.
Yeah, and I think they Iowa upset Southern Cal on that day, just this past weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. So shout out to her and Asia Wilson for getting their jerseys retired. Take us home, Scotty D. Get us out of here.
All right, this is actually my last pepper point. Is actually has nothing to do with sports, but needs to be said. Will Smith, when you're out smacking people, you might want to consider your kid, because he showed up at the Grammys like wearing a house on his head.
On his head. I didn't see that. Is it a whole
Eddie
house?
Cool. It was maybe a castle with, it was like a Halloween costume with a little face in the middle. That's
Okay.
who needs slapped, Will, not Chris Rock. Go home and do the right thing and smack your kid, because he's desperately in need of some kind of attention from you. And that's all I have to say about that.
Keep your kid's name out your mother mouth. You better watch out, Scotty D. He's gonna come get you for being fresh. Yeah. The mad slapper.
Yeah.
That's been another episode of the SportsBros podcast. Always thank you for listening, watching, rating, reviewing, subscribing. Please spread the word. Tell everybody. We'll be approaching our 300th episode soon. 6 years of doing this. 5 years. 5 years doing this. 6 years. I don't know. Everything's starting to run together. But yeah, man. Episode number 300. Who knows? We might do something special for that. So thanks for the love. Thanks for the support. Keep subscribing and keep watching. And in closing, do something nice for yourself. And if you can, do something nice for someone else. They're greatly appreciated now more than ever. Be a blessing, not a burden. This is your favorite sports podcast, the SportsBros Podcast.
Yes, sir.
You sound like Tama Tonga now. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Shout out to main event Jey Uso for winning the Royal Rumble. And I saw Logan Paul at my job the other day. But that don't mean nothing. But hey, bye. See y'all next week. Hey, it's Eddie Cool here from the SportsBros Podcast. Thank you for listening. And as always, continue to follow us on all of our social media platforms. Just click the link in the description box and keep up with the SportsBros Podcast. And once again, thanks for listening.